right.
And he asked me.
Remember, we have to, if anything happens in the real world, we have to cue in our audio listeners.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
Audio listeners, love you to death, but we are currently sitting on the couch about to record
I don't think
our first and only podcast of the month of March.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
So
Ever since
we've kind of
October,
been slacking it.
So,
but that's okay. Because you know
what?
what?
Because we're going to have the NPR and this.
I think you should only look at that camera, and I'll only look at this camera. So it'll be...
It'll be really weird.
Yeah.
I hate that. I hate that idea. And then we switched. We just switched and looked at... Okay.
We need to choose a primary camera.
Do you want to introduce?
Welcome. What episode are we on?
No idea.
Welcome to episode 27 of the Ben and Ben Show.
Up.
We're just super excited to be back and at it again. We've got a lot set up for you today.
Mm-hmm.
Not a whole lot of singles, but that's okay.
But a couple from some local artists.
Yeah,
so that's
what's most exciting. We'll make it up to you by that. We'll get more into who those local artists are. After that, we've got Alex Koory helping us talk about Donda 2. And we'll get to that.
Should be interesting.
But let's jump right in. Ben, you want to start us off with...
We got Bones from Imagine Dragons. And I think, just in general, that Imagine Dragons get too much hate. I will go on the record saying I think they get too much hate. They're very successful. They're like one of the top artists or bands on Spotify, monthly listeners. But I think they get too much slack for what they do. And I'm kind of on a high from listening to them because I listened to their older songs and it just brought back memories. But I think some of their new stuff is good too. Like Bones here. I think it's very upbeat. It's very catchy. The guitar in this is used very minimally, but it works perfectly when it needs to. I think it complements the song really well. I love the vocals. Dan Reynolds. I think that's how you say the name. Mm-hmm. His voice is really good. The way he can get that rasp in there without it sounding too painful. Sometimes when you add rasp to your voice, it can sound okay, that's we don't need to do that. But he does it really well. But yeah, what do you think about this song, Ben?
I agree in that they are overhated. I'm not a super big fan of their stuff, but that has nothing to do with how successful they are.
Yeah.
But I haven't been a big fan of what they have been releasing recently. This, on the other hand, I am a fan of. I like, like you said, how they use their instruments. I won't go in any more than what you did on that. But yeah, it's nothing that's going to get added to a playlist in my opinion. But I think this is just a really solid song. It's got that classic. He has that classic voice, doesn't he?
Yeah.
I think that's a voice most people can recognize. When he goes into that more raspy part of it. And I think he does that very well and, does this here. Overall, I'd give this a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave this an 8 out of 10. So, and like you said, I'm not a huge Imagine Dragons fan, but I do think that they're overhated. But anyways.
I realized we just left one of the parts of the tripod on the table before we started recording. So, that's cool. And we're going to leave it there.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the tripod where the part is missing. We're just that good.
We don't need it.
We can record a podcast without all the parts of a tripod. Take that to Joe Rogan. So, next song is called Hurricane by Kanyes. It's got I really like their use of the distorted guitar in the background and the whistles.
Oh yeah.
The whole just vibe of the song, her vocals mixed with what I just mentioned, really just it kind of takes me to a tropical beach. I don't know. I'm really into that. I think this all comes together for a really nice sound. Ben, what do you think?
Yeah, it definitely gave me that summer vibe to it, kind of. Here the guitar is more of a central role, and I think it works really well. I love the whistling throughout. I'm a little jealous because I can't really whistle, but you just had to. Okay.
I can also vibrato with whistle.
Okay, you're just showing off at this point. Let's
tone it down. I might go to the Olympics or something.
Olympics whistling?
Yeah.
But yeah, I thought this song was very, very good. It surprised me. Hadn't heard of Kanyes before, so yeah.
They've got a pretty good track list. They got a lot of good songs.
Catalog, yeah.
A cartography.
Yeah. I gave this one an 8 out of 10.
I also gave this an 8 out of 10.
Nice. Next up, we have Sweetest Pie from Megan Thee Stallion and Dua Lipa. Quite the collaboration. I think one of my favorite lines here is "Booty like a pillow, he can use it while he's sleeping."
He can actually.
Which I don't know why, but I thought that was funny. But it's I'm not surprised by it or anything. But I was surprised how the chorus on this was not that catchy. I didn't find I still struggle to think of how it goes after listening to it 4 or 5 times. But I think it's upbeat, it's fun.
Yeah, it's got Megan Thee Stallion has some funny lyrics on here. Definitely not a song that was made with us in our demographic in mind. But no, I thought this was just a fun song. And while the chorus wasn't catchy, I still think Dua Lipa had a good vocal performance on that.
For sure.
Hard to go wrong with Dua Lipa there. I think she's pretty talented.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I just gave this a 7 out of 10.
Yeah, I gave it a 7 out of 10 as well.
There you go.
Linked.
So, now song after that. This is a little context to this guy. This is the first local artist we have. Actually, first local artist to grace the podcast with his presence.
Mm-hmm.
His name is Tyler. It's Ty.
Yeah, I was gonna say
space
Ty
Ler. Why his name is that? I don't know. We'll have to find out one day.
Is his actual name Tyler?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah.
It'd be really embarrassing if it isn't.
His name is Josh.
Yeah.
No, his name is Ted, obviously.
Oh, right, yeah, because the song is called Will Ted Like It? The way I found this guy is about 2 years ago, I'm walking down State Street, Madison, and this guy comes up to me and the people I'm with, and he's like, "Hey, I'm a local artist. I'd love it if you would check me out. Here's my..." He gave us a sticker with his socials on it, and I was like, dope. And I checked him out, and I've just known him. He's been on my radar ever since, which is kind of cool. You always love to see people from your area doing music, and I don't know, all that sort of stuff.
For sure. So what did you think about the song?
Yeah, the actual song, I liked it. I think this is one of his better songs, to be honest.
Yeah, I thought I was surprised with how much I liked it. Because I don't, no offense to Tyler, but you think of you hear local rapper from Wisconsin, it's not gonna be that good. But I did like this song, so I was pleasantly surprised by that. I think the wind instrument used in the back, I couldn't really identify it, but I think that was kind of cool. But yeah, the one thing that I didn't necessarily like, and I think he does this a lot, so I don't. But just the weird vocal distortion as an outro, it feels kind of tacky to me. Because everything gets tuned down, it's all distorted.
It's just, I think he just slows it.
Yeah, that's what he does for sure. But I just wasn't a huge fan of that. Other than that, I think it's a very solid song.
Yeah, I agree. The part at the end wasn't my favorite. I could have done without it. But he has some. Let's be honest. When I first showed you this song, the chorus.
Oh yeah, okay.
That's a great chorus.
Yeah.
We'll throw and throughout the song, he has some great clever, creative lyrics.
Yes to the money, but no to the fees.
Yeah, some great financial advice from Ty.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
I'd say this is a very strong song from a guy that is, I don't know, whatever.
Yeah, no,
he is.
He is. I gave this a 7 out of 10.
I give this an 8 out of 10.
Dang. Okay.
Breakneck speeds, yes, bitch, please. Yes to the money, but no to the fees. Fuck feds.
And then finally, another local artist. We got 2 in one episode, with back to back. We have "Loving Machine Working 24/7" from Elijah P. Elijah P, if you don't know, is a pseudonym for Shane Peters. The vocals, after first listening to this, I was like, all right, cool. I guess it's not what I expected, but I was like, where's Shane? Where is vocals on this, right? But apparently, to my
It's
surprise,
all Shane.
according to Shane, those are his vocals just distorted,
Auto-tuned, yeah.
which is, I think, crazy to me because I did not expect that.
So, like, if the rumors are to be believed,
Yeah.
I think that's very talented that he was able to take that from his normal voice up to where it is. You know, maybe we'll have an example around here. So yeah, I think that's really, whatever. I think that's really cool. And a little context to like how he came across this guy is he goes to our school. This is his first song. So as a first song, I think this is really promising. I think we're gonna see, some good stuff from Elijah P.
Yeah.
The my big qualm with this song would be that the vocal part and then his beat don't always like match up. They kind of like grind against each other when you want them. Like it's like they're so close to just like working with each other. Yeah.
I think the main thing that threw me off a little bit was the synth, like kind of arpeggios that he has throughout. Like it's not really arpeggios, but there's synth that's kind of bouncing all over the place. And for the most part, it works and it sounds decent, But then, like you said, sometimes it can feel like it's trying to like slow down. Like it just doesn't line in. It doesn't lock in. Sorry. I guess that works too. But, I think especially when I was thinking of like Shane dropping a song, this is completely different. Like even just the style, it's more like, I don't even know how to describe it really. But
it's like an EDM.
Yeah,
it's an EDM song.
Yeah, okay. But it's just not what I was expecting, so I was surprised by that. I'm excited to see what he comes out with next.
And now for an exclusive interview with the Elijah P.
Crazy.
Right
now.
All right, now we're here with Shane Peters, otherwise known as Elijah P, for an exclusive interview on the Ben and Ben Show. So, first question. What would you say like inspired you to start making music?
Well, my brother makes a bunch of he's a producer and he makes a bunch of music, and yeah, that's really all my where that all comes from. And then also a bunch of different other artists.
Okay. So, we'll follow up question to that. Did your brother make the beat in this song?
No, I made it completely.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's sweet.
And then, are there any artists specifically that influence or inspire you?
I would say 24K Golden really inspired me because his song Mood was really, really good.
All right, interesting.
Final question. What can we expect to see from Elijah P in the future?
Oh, you gotta know some rapping is gonna be coming, and a bunch more, albums coming out.
Oh, albums?
Yeah.
Oh, snap. Okay.
Albums.
Well, to say we're excited would be an understatement. Elijah P, thank you for taking the time to do this exclusive interview with us. You have a great one.
You too.
Back to the studio. Hold on, bitches. If you want to see the rest of this promo video, you got to get yourself a Ben player.
The Ben player is designed to streamline audio and video playing for your personal use. For the low cost of $500, you can get the Ben and Ben Show official Ben player.
What the fuck? I didn't sign up for this shit. You guys... That's an iPod. What the hell? What are you doing? Ben, come on, man. I thought you were better than that.
Okay.
Kanye's insane. You're not insane. Have some standards.
He's influenced me badly.
Dude, I can take you to Sunday service, okay? Come on.
I need to
Get
find
through
God.
Find God. All right, and now we are here with Alex Koory to talk about Donda 2 from Kanye West. He dropped it on February 22nd of 2022. 22. It actually dropped. I will give him props for that, but it only came out on his 10 player. So here we are. How are you doing, Koory?
I mean, doing swell, living the dream.
Fantastic. All right, well let's jump right in. So, I think this album more than any, typical with Kanye albums, had a lot of hubbub around it as it released. So, let's talk about some of the drama, some of the stuff that was happening right before this, that kind of gives some context to what's going on in this album. So,
Alex, you know what? Skeet Davidson, he's a problem, guys.
Yeah.
So Kanye and his wife are divorced, and there's a lot of hilarious stuff on Instagram going on where he's just posting like stuff talking about his wife and all that. It's just fantastic things going on from Kanye. He's clearly mentally ill though, guys.
Yeah,
I feel bad.
Yeah. It's not a good situation for anyone, I don't think. And I don't think Kanye is really all that great of a person. I don't think Kim is really that great of a person. But one thing, I think they need to keep it off social media for the kids,
Yeah.
And us, cause honestly, I could deal without it. But I think, all of that drama really gives some context to what is going on in this album, because it's what most of the songs are about.
Yeah, and I feel like that's why he wrote this album.
Mm-hmm.
I'm unless I'm wrong.
I know
he wasn't planning on making Donda 2 until this happened. I'm assuming, but because I feel like it's kind of weird to make a sequel album to an album dedicated to your late mother.
Yeah,
that seems kind of weird to me.
Sure,
because this has nothing to do with his mom.
No.
And it's just I was listening to Donda 2 on the way over here, right? You gotta get in the mindset of Kanye, which is it's weird to get because his mind
can do
is
that. You
terrible.
can get into his mindset.
And it just kind of reminds me of heartaches and heartbreaks, in the 808, and just that was a great album. It was right after another of his stuff with his personal life and relationships. And you look at Ye back in 2019, and I think that's one of Kanye's best albums, but that's off on another topic. Whenever he gets into his own mind about his mental health and stuff like that, it's really hit or miss. Because people you're very divided on that. People love Ye and people hate Ye, but very very diverse guy. I was looking on Twitter earlier. There's all these 13, 15-year-old kids who are defending Kanye, and I think the conversations around him is really defines him as a person.
Yeah, he definitely has going the thing you said about the Twitter fan base. He definitely has one of the most annoying fan bases. Him and Youngboy. Any post about him is just filled with fine
Ratio.
God ratio.
Yeah,
Young boy better.
They can't take anything seriously.
Yeah.
And
when it comes to celebrity genre, sure, but it's also it's pretty annoying. I don't know.
No, yeah, I agree, 100%. Yeah, I do think that the two albums that you mentioned, though, I think those are underrated.
Yeah.
At least. But I do think that this is definitely not in that same genre of because I get him going through. It's a great way for him to express his emotions, what he's going through. But this way, in Donda 2, it's just not done well.
No,
at all.
And I'm sure you guys saw the video with the music video he made.
Oh
with,
my!
Skeet decapitated
With the roses around.
Oh, it made me uncomfortable watching that.
So
It was just I don't know why he'd make anything like that, to be frank.
It made me scared for Pete Davidson.
Yeah.
Because I knew that his fans would eat that up and be
Sure.
oh yeah, but.
And then you saw Pete Davidson, he texted him all this stuff, being we can talk about this, man to man, and Kanye posted that on or whatever, and just was want to come to Sunday service?
Yeah. Which, granted, if you don't take it too seriously, it's kind of funny. The whole situation, it's pretty funny, but. If you're looking at it from a serious standpoint, which I feel like you should, but Kanye doesn't seem to be taking it too seriously either. So it's or he's taking it seriously, but it just doesn't make sense to me how he's going about it.
Yeah, he's definitely just I don't know. I think he's trying to make sense to somebody here, but he clearly needs someone to step in for him.
Yeah, he's definitely trying to do something, make a statement, even with the social media stuff, and then also with the actual artistry stuff, with releasing this album on a stem player, where actual concept of the stem player is really cool. You let people who like to mix up music like divide out the stems using this little thing. Like that's pretty cool. Whatever. It's this little like I thought it was just going to be this little side project that Kanye had, but then when he announced that his next album was only going to come out on this device that costs $200, which is like it's in some cases it would either be that or rent for some people.
Yeah.
Dude, he's already a billionaire though. Like he doesn't need to like make that money, you know. And I understand kind of like where he's coming from with he doesn't want to, you know, make money for like these big companies that screw over artists so much. But you know, like how many like indie artists and like developing artists can't like afford to like put out a stem player? I find it like comes like a very like sense of privilege, you know.
Yeah,
with,
he's connected.
Yeah, he's connected. He has this huge fan base that he can do that, and you know it makes it harder for, you know, aspiring artists. I think if he does. You know, if that becomes a trend, you know, that like, oh, you're just big and you should release your own thing, it makes it hard for a lot of people.
Like, I get the not wanting to go with streaming route. Like, I get that. And I know that there are other artists who, like, do that.
Mm-hmm.
And especially when Spotify started to get big, I know that there were some artists in particular that were hesitant about it. But the fact that he's charging $200 to listen to a completely unfinished album is ridiculous. And like you said, I think the idea of the stem player is really cool. Like the way that you can isolate different parts of the song, but just the way that he's marketing it is not. It's just not the way to go. It's just not smart.
And I mean, let's talk about some of like how this is unfinished, because the wide majority of these songs, like except for like Easy and City of Gods, which were already songs that technically are like fall under either Fivio Foreign or like the other guy that Easy.
Yeah, they're not even his.
Like yeah.
I remember when those came out though, like even on like Twitter and everything, people were like talking down that, you know, Easy, like that's like, oh, it's terrible. And I mean, like once you get onto like the actual album though, like, you know, you listen to it, it's just like a lot of sameness, you know, like. I think that's like the one big thing about Kanye is his production's always going to be good. There's always going to be good beats on a song because that's what how he came to fame. You know, it's like he knows
what he's doing.
Yeah, he knows what he's doing. They're always good, and they're always very like you're not going to get the same beat twice and stuff like that. Now, I think there was one song, I don't remember what it was, but he reused something off of Donda, remixed it, and it sounded really good. I thought it was one of the better pieces of this, and I think the one he used on Happy was pretty good. You know, just the way he used it is just I think wasn't the best. You know,
there's definitely like this album seems like it's in the stage of they've gotten a bunch of good beats together. Like they got Future on this. He's like the executive producer for this, and now they're just starting to do the verses, get people on this, and like because a lot of these verses just don't seem finished. On some of the songs, there's just like giant instrumentals that don't do anything that's different from like the normalness of the other song. It just sounds like Kanye is supposed to be right there. There's 2 songs where Kanye doesn't even like perform.
Yeah.
And I could like you hear parts where like this is where Kanye's verse is supposed to go, but it's just not there.
Yeah. And there will be parts where he is performing or, you know, he is rapping, but it's just mumbled nonsense. Yeah. It has no meaning.
I looked on Genius, like just looking at
I looked at this too.
The one song just has question marks. Like they don't even know.
Like people tried so hard to make sense of it and they just couldn't because it's just that far gone.
He's just like he's nuts. I remember on the lead up to Donda, you guys remember seeing like some of the Instagram lives? He's just like working out in a ski mask and just like that's where he's
in the prison cell.
Oh my gosh, it's just, you know, he's clearly like he's trying to do something different. You know, if you look at Jesus back in like I don't know whenever it came out, 2013 I think. He tried to do something different. You know, he has like, you know, there's like the streaming and all that, and like. And that's, you know, that's what makes Kanye Kanye. He tries to be different, but you know, sometimes it doesn't hit. I remember I thought I saw somewhere that he was supposed to release like updates for some of these songs, but you know.
Yeah, so he hasn't updated any of them yet?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's what at least I think. I think maybe one came through or something where he's like tweaks a couple, and like I think that's what happened with, you know, you remember with Donda, they didn't release a song with the baby, and I think it was the studio who produced it had to actually release it for him. Yeah. And it was just You know, it's always stuff like that. There's never,
I mean, like
never anything
Life
specific.
of Pablo, like the original version of it, that released on release date, is almost an entirely different album from like the one you can go up and listen to right now.
Yeah.
And I mean, I understand, I guess, the whole like ever-changing album, like the evolving album or whatever. Like if Kanye wants to keep working on it after he releases it, I mean, it's not ideal to me, but I guess, like, sure, go ahead.
Yeah.
I think it's a cool like utilization of like what music can be right now. Because like you look on these like albums, not like the Kendrick Lamar ones, but any other album that's on that wall right now. And once they were released, that was it.
Yeah, and I think it's kind of cool that he's able to do that, but also in a format like this, if you are charging $200 for it, you have to give them a finished product, and at least a couple songs, new songs, that aren't on streaming for it to be even remotely worth it.
Sure.
And that's just not there.
What I would expect is them to have a completed album, you know, and then he starts like doing that thing where he like releases a couple songs where, you know, he's got to tweak it.
Yeah.
And I think that's really cool, you know, like there are definitely like remixes that he's made where, you know, he adds somebody new, like, and having that ability is definitely, I think, a part of the future of music, and you know, that's what you're looking for. You know, that's why, you know, people like Kanye so much. He's always been a bit of a pioneer, but to create so many problems around it and not understand that aspect of it and not be able to do it in a social sense is really rare, you know. People are divided on Kanye.
Yeah. Another point I had about this album was that the call-outs to like his like real life drama that's happening in the moment is just really weird and kind of toxic, I think.
Yeah.
Like the first song is literally about how like his kids could like tunnel down to his how his kids could tunnel over to his house.
Yeah.
It's like a call out to. It paints things in a picture. Most of the lyrics on the song in this album paint a picture that is very for him.
Yeah.
I think even his use of like, you know, gas. I don't remember particularly what song. I'm sorry, but I know one where he used a clip of Kim Kardashian where she's like talking.
Speech.
Yeah.
Her SNL speech.
Yeah.
Where she's like talking like up Kanye, and I think, you know, it speaks to his ego so much, which is just like, you know, there was another song with like you know, he always is preaching I'm the best, I'm the best, I'm the best, and like, you know, have so many fans who are like, you know, young 14-year-olds or something who are like being like, yes you are, and you know, yeah, you're so great, you know, and even people like, you know, he's gotten so much admiration at this point, you know. I think part of it's, you know, just going to his head, just playing out.
It's kind of scary.
And the thing about that SNL speech, I watched the full bit. And she is actually saying that really sarcastically, because then right after that sample ends in the song, her next line is, "And I divorced him for his personality." That's not verbatim. We'll have it like right here or something. But
Close enough.
yeah. But she was like mocking the fact that, I don't know. She's talking about the divorce, mocking it, whatever. And actually, and it was Sci-Fi, that's the song.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually thought that the lyrics on that song were actually his most like introspective, and like it seemed like he actually seemed to slow down on that one for 1 second and actually think about what was going on. Because I don't know, it seemed very like introspective, and he also rhymed semen with Morgan Freeman, so I thought that was actually pretty good. So highlighted the album right there.
That was horrible.
That beat was pretty good though on that song, which, you know, it's good.
Yeah.
I think I had this in class the other day with you know, Mr. Kelly. I talked about Yikes. You know, the song where he says, you know, I love your titties because they prove I can focus on two things at once.
Yeah.
You know, that's just, he's always done that, and
yeah,
you know, I'm not super surprised. He didn't really, I don't think he did that too much on Jesus is King, but you know.
Yeah, I feel like he usually has like a lyric or two that, like on an album, that it's like, okay, like it's just kind of random, but it's funny.
Yeah, it's
pretty
good.
Yeah, this one I feel like it's not even like funny to me. It's just uncomfortable.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just seems different in here.
I'm pretty sure he was. Sorry, go ahead.
No.
Well, I was just gonna say the context of that. I'm pretty sure he was talking about filling Kim Kardashian with semen, and the next, and like you're already divorced with her, so
yeah.
I could be wrong about that. I could be
misremembering.
just
Yeah, it's just
uncomfortable.
What were you gonna say, Alex?
No, I was just saying how, there's a lot of parts in this album where he tries to play that, I'm gonna make them uncomfortable card and stuff, and just, like you like the first song on, Ye is like, I thought about killing you, and just like, and it just repeats that like 50 times. It's just like, he starts off a lot of albums with making people uncomfortable and just making jokes at the expense of, people's feelings and stuff.
I think like what's different about that like song is that was there to like tie people in. Like they heard that, they're like, what the fuck is going on here? I think that was a great like introduction to like, because the whole thing is about his like mental state.
Exactly.
So that was a good like bring in. But this is just like,
and like especially the line like I don't know, I can't say it like verbatim now, but it's like, I thought about killing myself and I love myself much more than I love her.
Yeah.
And I thought like that, just the idea of that is something that I never would have like, but it like you said, it brings you in and it makes you like, your interest is piqued. Where here, it's just uncomfortable. It's just uncomfortable. So, I will say, like throughout the album, it has, like you said, a lot of good beats, a lot of potential even, but the fact that it's just so unfinished, and I think it's been like a month now, and there's been no updates. That scares me. That worries me.
There's a whole like, you go on Genius and there's like a whole like side of like the track list that says unreleased. So there's even more of this that's supposed to be coming out.
I mean, like, you look on, like, SoundCloud, if you, like, look up, like, Kanye, there's so many, like, unreleased stuff that he's put out, and, it took so long for even Donda to come out, like, people were like, oh, he's not even gonna do anything with it, or, like, there was, like, talk for all of his albums, oh, he's not even gonna release it, and then,
How many, like, he has, like, almost a dozen unreleased albums, doesn't he?
Yeah, it's ridiculous. I mean, like, and there's some great songs that he's made that just have never seen the, like, actual light of day. I mean, like, I was kind of hoping, with the Stem player that maybe he'd finally, like, release some of these, and that's what a lot of people were hoping too. Put some of those on there.
I feel like that'd be a great way to do it.
Exactly.
Yeah, I think that would be fair. Like these are unreleased songs, but they're going on here.
Yeah.
Because they would eventually, they'd eventually find the light of day on, like how these have.
Yeah.
Because like
the
way we found this music is I went on SoundCloud, downloaded all the music to my computer,
just openly
and then made a drive that I shared with all
not
of like
affiliated with him.
I shared it with him.
I listened through the Stem player that I definitely bought.
I mean, but the thing is
legally,
though, since Kanye didn't he didn't go through a production company, he has to copyright strike every single video that has this. So it's basically impossible.
That means
for him
that
to not
Kanye
have
could have watched. If we get a copyright strike, Kanye
himself watched
this. Kanye,
what's up? I do remember what I was going to say from earlier though, and I think this album really proves that delays are most of the time good.
Yeah.
When it comes, whether it's a video game, a movie, music, whatever, if it's delayed, it probably just means it needs more time.
Yeah. That's actually what people were saying about Donda too, or not Donda 2. Donda, comma 2. Yeah.
Also,
it's just usually when people even especially him, when he takes his time, it's to add something or spice up a beat a little bit. Because I know he's had release dates and pushed them back just a little bit, and it's ended up being a better album. I think My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy got delayed, and a lot of his classics.
Life of Pablo have one of the longest delays.
Yeah.
It was
it's been over a year. Yeah.
And I still listen to Life of Pablo to this day. It's a great album.
That's the first Kanye album I listened to.
Yeah. I listened to My Beautiful Dark Twisted Fantasy first.
My first.
Now they're one of my
first one was Graduation, so that one's that holds a special spot.
Yeah, same Life of Pablo probably holds a special spot.
Yeah, I mean I still love Life of Pablo. I like Yeezus too. I mean Graduation, a lot of his older stuff, they're classic albums, which is why so many people are like, oh, he's the greatest rapper of all time, or stuff like that, because he has a lot of those classics. But you look at, in my opinion, a lot of his collaborative albums with Jay-Z and stuff, he's had misses. He's not a perfect artist, and however you want to structure that, who's the best rapper, it just comes off that.
next month.
One thing about this album, though, just listening through Donda 2, and this is something that kept popping up into my mind when listening to it. And I get the beats. Kanye probably helps produce it. I know Future is the executive producer, but But one of the things that popped in my head is that Kanye, to me, is one of the worst aspects of this album.
Yes.
Yeah, I agree.
He is one of the worst parts of this album.
On almost all the features, almost all the features do better than him.
Yes.
I don't know. Jack Harlow does better than
Yep.
him.
Yep.
Migos do better than him. XXX and Tentacion does better than him, and he's on there twice.
Yeah. I mean, like, I was not looking forward to listening to this album. Like, I listened to the first couple of tracks. I didn't enjoy it. It was a real battle for me to listen to.
This is a Kanye fan.
And I
He enjoys Kanye.
We were like,
We all enjoy Kanye, I'm pretty sure.
The day of Donda 2, or Donda 1, I just sat in my room and I put my headphones on and I just listened to it all the way through. I didn't have a battle doing that, and that kept me entertained all the way through. Like any Kanye album, I can just pop on and listen all the way through, and I'm fine with that.
Yeah.
But this one was a real just battle for me. It was
like we said when we first started this podcast, we're like, next time Kanye drops,
We're talking
you're
about
on.
because
You're
this
on.
because this was we started right after Donda had dropped, and we were like, oh, we could have talked about that, but
0.1% Kanye listen. Not to flex too
not
much.
to flex, not to brag. Okay.
But I don't know, like Kanye's like he's proven that he can be the highlight of an album, you know. And you look at the College Dropout and stuff like that, you know, like Spaceship. He raps so well, raps very cleanly, and it's just like on this, it just he seems out of place on his own songs.
Yeah, that's a good way of putting it. I couldn't personally rate it out of 10. Because I'm curious.
Let me read to you what I wrote down.
Okay.
I feel like there's something formulating here, but I
Can
feel
you
like
read
I'm
your
watching
own
someone go through the darkest time of their life while they're surrounded by horrible influences on their mental health, and I don't really need or want to know about any of it. Out of 10.
Yeah.
That's a perfect way of putting it. You know, I would understand if someone gave us a 2 out of 10. Like legitimately. This.
Yeah. I mean,
it's just. The structure's there, like you said. He has the building blocks of, and like you can't be a Kanye album without having good beats.
It has the potential.
Good features, you know, stuff like that. He's one of the most well-known artists and people on the planet. You know, he's gonna have that kind of resources. But it felt corporate. It felt just.
Funny, it feels corporate.
Yeah, but yeah,
exactly, because there's no corporation to deal with it.
Yeah.
It felt like another Kanye album that just like.
It felt worse than any Kanye album.
It felt worse.
Yeah. I and like I said, I just can't. I feel like it's unfair to rate it out of 10, just because it's. I don't know if I'd even call it an album.
It's just like this is what would be like
what is
in
an
progress. This is
album?
like
let's take a moment to discuss that.
What is an album? Grab me one of
Okay,
those.
so now we've covered video games, we've covered music. Now we're gonna go into philosophy. Of Ben and Ben.
We're hitting
the duality of Ben.
Man in the cave. So.
Oh god. But yeah, this is what Kanye does to us.
You know, it's something to do with the mental state, guys. It's just like
it just rubs off on us.
Yeah. Well, I think that's all I have to say.
That's all I have to say.
Well, thank you, Alex. It's been a pleasure talking to you about this album, I guess, quote unquote. But yeah, it's been a pleasure
talking to you about this Google Drive.
What?
I don't know about Google Drive.
I used the Stempler. I don't know what you're talking about.
I used the Ben player. Which
everyone has to be using the Ben player.
The Ben player,
to this right now.
Yeah, actually. How would you listen to this without the Ben
Unless
player?
you're being a pirate.
Unless you've pirated this off of some sort of malicious website. In that case, you have malware.
There's local girls in your area.
We encrypted it.
And we can actually see you through your webcam right now.
Okay, that's...
Wake up.
Well, I think another successful episode of the Ben and Ben Show has just been recorded.
I have to agree.
Alright.
We're going to take this to the cutting room, and we're going to edit this way better than Kanye does.
Well, that's not great job.
For this album. For Donda 2.
God, I hope the camera was rolling.
Yeah.
Alright,
Well, thank you
well,
for
see you next time.